Welcome to part 2 of the tales of the Tenacious Tortoise, beginning with the season of renewal. The rains continued for days, washing away the dust that had clung to the savannah for far too long. The land slowly came back to life. Tiny shoots of green pushed through the soil. Flowers opened like soft-colored lanterns. Birds that had fled during the drought returned, filling the air with music. The Marula Savannah felt reborn. In the center of it all sat Toby's well. What had once been a desperate hole in the ground was now a crystal pool, clear enough to reflect the sky above. The animals often gathered around it, not out of necessity anymore, but out of gratitude and pride. Even those who had once doubted Toby now spoke of him with admiration. "He saved us," the meerkats would say. "He saved this land," added the warthogs. But Toby never took credit. Whenever someone praised him, he simply smiled and said, "I only did what I could. And what anyone can do if they don't give up." His voice was quiet, but the message carried far. One cool morning, a new sound drifted across the savannah. Soft, slow footsteps. Heavy, but familiar in their rhythm. A young elephant named Nala approached Toby. Her large ears drooped, and her eyes held a sadness that cut through the morning calm. Toby turned to her gently. "You look troubled," he said. "What weighs on your heart?" Nala lowered her head. "My herd, they want to travel farther north. Even though the rains returned, they fear another drought. They don't feel safe staying here." Toby listened quietly. "I don't want to leave," she continued. "This is my home. But I'm just one elephant. What can I do?" Toby took a slow breath, letting the silence settle before he spoke. "You may be just one elephant," he said, "but your voice matters. If you believe something strongly, speak it. Sometimes one voice becomes many." Nala blinked, surprised. "Do you really think they'd listen?" "They might," Toby replied. "But only if you try." The young elephant thought for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. "I'll talk to them," she said. "Thank you, Toby." As she walked back toward her family, a warm feeling spread across Toby's chest. Helping others gave his life meaning. That evening, the elephant herd gathered near the baobab tree. Toby stayed at a distance. He didn't want to intrude. But he watched as Nala stepped forward, her voice trembling at first, then growing steadier. "This land survived because we stayed together," she said. "Because we helped each other. If we leave now, who will protect it? Who will look after the others? I believe we should stay. I believe this is still our home." The herd murmured, some uncertain, some moved, some afraid. Their leader, an old elephant named Baranu, studied her carefully. "You speak with courage," he said, "and you speak with truth." A hush fell over the herd. Baranu lifted his trunk proudly. "We will stay. This land endured the drought once. And if it must do so again, we will stand together." Every animal nearby heard the announcement. Relief washed over them like a cool breeze. And from where he sat beneath a Marula tree, Toby smiled softly. One voice can indeed become many. The days grew peaceful again. The savannah thrived. Streams trickled through the grasslands, and the well remained a gathering place for animals young and old. Life felt safe, and the harsh memory of the drought began to fade. But the world was changing beyond the horizon. One night, as the moon rose high, a distant rumble shook the ground. It wasn't thunder, and it wasn't any animal that belonged to the savannah. The vibration rippled through the soil, disturbing even Toby in his sleep. He opened his eyes. What was that? The sound came again, heavy, metallic, unnatural. Birds burst from their nests in fright. The meerkats scrambled into their burrows. Toby pushed himself upright and listened carefully. The noise faded, but unease lingered like a shadow. The next day, the lions reported seeing something unusual far to the east. "Strange creatures," one lion said. "Tall, shiny things. Moving on wheels. And humans, lots of humans." Toby felt his heart tighten. Humans were not strangers to the savannah. But they came rarely. And never in great numbers. "What are they doing?" Toby asked. "No one knows," the lion replied. But all the animals felt the same uneasy fear. Something was coming. Something powerful. Something that could change their lives forever. 3 days later, the truth arrived in the form of dust clouds on the horizon. By midday, the humans were close enough for the animals to see their machines. Giant roaring things that rolled across the savannah, flattening grass and shaking the earth. The animals gathered in alarm. "What do they want?" gasped a gazelle. "Why are there so many?" added a meerkat. Toby stepped forward slowly. "We should watch carefully," he said, "and understand their purpose before we react. The machines stopped near the far side of the savannah. Humans stepped out, carrying tools, maps, markers. They hammered stakes into the ground. They measured distances. They placed strange flags into the soil. Then they brought out something worse, large metal pipes, and rolled out blueprints. Zura the zebra's voice trembled as she asked, "Toby, what does this mean?" Toby studied the humans, noticing the patterns of their movements, the urgency in their actions. "They are planning something," he said. "A construction." The meerkat squeaked. "Construction? For what?" Toby closed his eyes, realizing the danger. "They are building a dam." A loud gasp swept through the crowd. A dam could reroute water, cut through land, change the course of rivers, affect the well, affect everything. The savannah that had just healed could be threatened again. Fear spread across the animals like wildfire. The birds flew high, trying to see the humans' intentions. The predators paced anxiously. Even the mighty elephants stood tense and uncertain. Toby watched the horizon, feeling the weight of responsibility settle upon him once more. He remembered how he had dug the well, not with strength, but with determination. How he had inspired others simply by refusing to quit. He realized something important. Maybe this time, too, he could make a difference. Not by digging, not by leading with force, but by thinking, by staying steady, by doing what he did best, not giving up. He turned to the animals and said, in a calm but firm voice, "We will face this together. The savannah survived the drought, and it will survive this if we stay united." The animals looked at him with hope and fear intertwined. "What do we do?" asked Nala. Toby took a deep breath. "We must first understand what the humans want. Then we will decide our next steps. No rushing. No panic. One careful move at a time. Just like digging the well." That night, Toby rested beside his well, watching stars shimmer above. He thought about the humans. Their machines. Their intentions. Their history. He remembered stories passed down from older tortoises. Stories of humans who built things without realizing the consequences. Stories of animals who suffered because no one stood up, or spoke up, or took that first step to protect their home. Toby realized something. His shell was small, but his heart was not, and his voice could carry farther than he believed. He whispered into the night, "This land healed once. I will not let it be destroyed." The wind carried his promise across the savannah. The tenacious tortoise had a new challenge ahead. A challenge greater than drought, greater than fear, greater than anything he had faced before. But he did not shrink from it. He faced it with steady courage. Because steady steps always lead somewhere. This is the end of our story for today. Do remember to subscribe to our channel. See you again on our next story.